Next poem, the poem number 10. Oh, sorry, 10. And this poem is about all the world is a stage by William Shakespeare. This is one of the very important poems as far as your exam is concerned. Why? Because in this poem, several questions are to be asked from the students. You explain the stage described by the poet. Explain the period of infant child or the writer as an infant child, or explain the period as a soldier, explain the period as a judge, or explain the period that is to be nominated or called as a last stage of his life, mean the death scene from the poem. So these are the very, very much important stages that the writer has tried to explain in this poem, right? So when we see this poem, we can see this poem obviously divide the poem with the help of some points. As you will come to know about the points, so ultimately you will very easily understand this portion. That what is the first stage, what is the second stage, and what is the third stage, etc. First of all, the poet tells that the world in which we live is a temporary place, and he considers this place as a stage. Like that, there are several actors. According to the poet, all the men and the women who are leading their life in this world are in fact performing their characters, right? And their characters are consisted on several different stages. And what are that stage? Obviously, their stages are, first of all, an infant. Infant child. This is the first. It means that a person comes into the world. It means that enters in this world through birth. Obviously, when he comes in this world, it means his first character. And obviously, once upon a time we were also a child, so we spent in that period more than approximately 2.5 or 3 to 4 years. When we say that the infant, this infant period is basically consistent from the day 1 up to 12 months. We call them infant. Why? Because under 1 year, the period that a child spends under 1 year, we may call him or her as an infant child. Why? Because in that condition, the child is unable to explain, to express his or her grief, her problems, etc. Suppose if a child is feeling a pain into her tummy, obviously, so he or she is unable to explain that I'm feeling pain in my tummy. He weeps. He or she weeps. So it means that during that period that we say or we call 1 year period. 1 year period, we call this period as an infant child. So this is the first character that a man stands in this world. Then the second character that he performs on the stage. Stage means in this world as a school-going boy. Boy or girl. When you obviously use them, if you think about your first day, when you went your first day at school, what was the expression your expression at the very first day when you were going to school might be you must have been weeping at that time, right? So you will be unable to leave your parents. Why? Because they are going to leave you into another place that is very unusual for you. That is very strange. That seems to be very strange for you. So that is why the child weeps. Okay, so that period, the writer, the poet tells us that, you see, it is the second period of his character, it is the second character of his life that he or she spends when he or she goes to the school. Well, the third character or the third period, according to the poet, is as a lover. This is one of the very interesting and very crucial period as far as the young generation is concerned. You yourself are approximately under this portion, the age, and this portion, this age being starts from 15 to approximately 22 and plus years of age. You must love your brother, your sister, your cousins, your fathers, your parents, etc. and the family members. But when we call them as a lover, it means that the person shows his or her involvement with the second person on the basis of the attraction, right? So when we see the attraction in some person, at the time the first person means especially because he's explaining about the he by himself, a man. So that way the person remains very neat and clean. He cuts his hair very shiningly. He places his hair. It means that he spends his time very in happy mood. And most of the time, you must have seen such kind of those persons, just like I must say about them as a road inspector, the vagabonds, like that, in our simple words, vagabonds. This is an applicable, ironic name of that person, the road inspectors, where someone is going there, someone is going there, and waiting for someone. This is the thing. It means that during that, the whole period, he or she exploits their time, especially the very costly time. So when he involves himself with some attachment with some girl, with some lady, so at that time he tries to remain very calm and cautious and attractive to attract his or her lover or beloved or the lover, etc. Then as a soldier, this is one of the very important place, mean the character. Someone asked from William Shakespeare that why you have mentioned this category into the poem. What there must have been another options as far as the jobs are concerned. Why you particularly mention this name, this portion, this profession into your poem? So he explained that basically I wanted to be join the National Armed Forces, but unfortunately he was medically rejected. He tried several times to join the armed forces, but every time he was rejected. So that is why it became his keen desire to join the army. So that is why he mentioned this name into his poem. He was of the view that if I couldn't join the army physically, doesn't matter, I am capable to join my own army in shape of the poem or in shape of some, just like this profession, etc. Then the fifth character. The fifth character that person performs into this world become a mature person. But here we see some jealousy as well. Hatred. Why? Because a soldier doesn't think up from the mind. He always thinks from the heart. So whenever he sees that any junior is crossing him, obviously he becomes very jealous. So that is why he used the word soldier here. Then a mature person, in this character, in this state, the poet tells us that Whenever a person comes into that age, and approximately according to the writer, this age starts from 40 years to 50 years. Sensible, maturity. He is not very quick in any kind of a decision. If any kind of a problem he faces, so he thinks about it and he tries to resolve the problem in the light of his past experiences, in the light of his observations, in the light of the advices taken from all around the people, and the personal observations as well. So he's not very quick in jealousy. Here he spends some relaxed time and tries to resolve the situation as much as possible. Then the sixth character. This sixth stage, according to the writer or according to the poet, the sixth stage turns into, in fact, this is once again a reverse gear of his life. Why? Because in that age a person becomes fat, and obviously his voice is very hard, loud, just like बहुत गरजदार टाइप की रोक और दबदबे वाली, right? But whenever as he turns into the age from 55 to round about under 60, it means his fatness converts into slimness. His body becomes slim, then he becomes very weak. Again, the another point is that he puts spectacles, mean glasses, at nose. Eyeglasses, I need to say that. Spectacles mean eyeglasses. Because at that stage, his eyesight becomes very weak. Okay? So, ultimately, it is the ultimate reverse gear of his life. And then, he spends the time for approximately 50 to 60 years, and then 60 plus time. This is the same age that converts into again the childish period. Childlike. Why? Because in that state he becomes whatsoever he says, he sticks on that. He thinks that the other people are trying to cheat him, although the other people try to console him, try to proper guide him. But due to his weak mind and childlike habits, he doesn't try to understand the nature of the other persons. So due to that, obviously the person calls him that, now this is a poor chap. Poor C-H-A chap, old man. It means that this person is unable to understand us. So why should we care this person? And then this period converts into the last line, that or the concluding line. Sans teeth, sans eyes, S-A-N-S, sans teeth. Sans eyes, sans everything. It means that he does. Sans teeth means his teeth ultimately removes. Sans eyes, his eyesight totally finishes. Okay, and by means of sans everything, it means that he totally leaves this world and leaves this world with the dawn of death, and enters an unseen world, and obviously leaves the stage that we call stage life. So this is how we understand, we see this point. All the world is the same. This is what I'm going to make a slight review. This poem is about the life. The poet has considered this life as a stage, and every person, according to the poet, performs 7 different characters in different periods. Okay, the first character is an infant child. The second character is a school-going boy or school-going child. The third character that he performs as a lover. The fourth character that he performs as a soldier. The fifth character that he performs as a mature person with a huge and very aggressive type of voice, etc., and a very healthy type of a person, etc. Then the fifth character that ultimately converts or transforms into the weakness. Okay, and during this period, his all aggressiveness, egoistic nature converts into a slightly a weak nature. Okay, then the sixth character when he performs the sixth character, his healthy and the very forceful and the very powerful body converts or turns into the weak body, and then he puts the spectacles at his noses, obviously at his nose, and then the seventh character is the condition that he performs whatsoever he does everything like childlike. Okay. It means that he is unable to understand the other people, and through this way he leaves the world with the germ of the death. And when everything finishes, means sense teeth, his teeth are finished, sense eyes, his eyesight, he becomes blind. In simple word, and sense everything, he loses all his senses, and then through the door of death, he leaves this stage. This is what all the world is stage. Yeah.